Joining us to preview and also review the game on Saturday that held between Plateau United and Katsina United is a sports journalist, Pius Ahamba. Pius joins us this morning. Pius, good morning to you. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, good morning to you. And of course, thank you so much for having me once again on your show.
All right, let's look at, first of all, yesterday's game. Katsina United. Plateau United seem to be doing something after changing their coach. I mean, they have a new sheriff in town, and he's been able to garner some points for them already, going away from home to get a point against Katsina United. What do you make of it?
Well, it was quite surprising for many, knowing fully well that Plateau United, of course, have just been neither here nor there. It was just practically their last game. That was the last one was against Fixtures before the one against Katsina, which they got a draw. They won against Fixtures, and of course, I picked up a draw. This is giving me the Bendel Insurance scenario. We recall how Bendel Insurance had to let Coach Greg leave the team, and Coach Kennedy Boboye took over. And ever since then, they've been flying. Like you already mentioned when you roll out the fixtures, you mentioned Bendel Insurance as one of the informed teams in Nigeria Premier Football League. 4 wins in their last 4 games. And of course, no loss in the last 9 games for Bendel Insurance. It tells you the story of how a change in manager can actually, and of course, the Plateau United do have one of the big names in Nigeria Premier Football League. When he was going to take over that particular job, I was had a little chat with him, and then he's somebody who, when he talks Nigerian football, you know that this person understands what it means to coach in the Premier League. So when you have such a manager, I mean, you expect that the first few games should go his way. Maybe probably have itches here and there. Maybe when teams starts to find him out. But of course, at this point in time, it is good for Plateau United because where they were coming from, of course, where they are at this point in time is not even good. They are 17th on the log, even though they are tied on the same points with Barau United, who are 16th. But of course, we know that once they keep getting these away draws, home wins, it takes them up. Like again, I would also liken it to Bendel Insurance, who had 4 straight draws before starting to pick up the wins and all of that. So it is expected of a manager who understands the league, like Umuahia, like Kennedy Boboye. So probably it is something that's going well for Plateau United. I was quite surprised that Katsina United couldn't get the win, but yes, it is what it is.
All right, it is what it is. With Rivers United leading the table, and of course, I told you, let me come to you now. Abia Warriors just behind them. How crucial is the clash against Nasarawa United? It's Abia Warriors against Nasarawa United. What kind of match should we be expecting in Umuahia?
We expect that Abia Warriors put up, a good fight. Last season they had a wonderful, timeout, and this time around you can see that even Rivers United are still, leading the pack with 4 points. They have a game in hand. Now, if Abia Warriors fail to win today, we should know that the title might just be heading towards Port Harcourt once again.
All right. Pius, Bendel Insurance, you just talked about them. There's Enugu Rangers also with their coach back. That's Fidelis Ilechukwu against Warri Wolves. How do you think the top 6 will shape up? I mean, I know, yes, Rivers United will still remain top this week. That's because, of course, Abia Warriors, whether they win or not, they'll probably reduce the points, but will not be able to outgo them. But let's look at Enugu Rangers. Let's look at Insurance. Let's also look at the fixtures across the venues. How much of a boost is the return of Fidelis Ilechukwu? There's also Jale Logumodede. What should we be expecting from these fixtures?
I mean, for the return of Ilechukwu should be a big boost for Enugu Rangers, who I honestly don't think they've done too badly. Of course, in their last 2 games they've not dropped, they've not lost, right? And they played 1 home game and of course 1 away game. They probably would win easily against Warri Wolves, which I think, it's expected of them. If they could win away against Kun Khalifa and of course draw at home to Rivers United, they will partially defeat Warri Wolves, who have not actually been, quite impressive. When you say Warri Wolves, of course, they've won their last 2 games as well against Katsina United, and I think the one was against Fixtures, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I still see Rangers, getting 3 points against Warri Wolves. How the top 4 will shape up is beginning to look quite interesting because Ikorodu City, Nasarawa United are tied on the same points. Rangers are also coming, and of course, I will also mention Bendel Insurance, who are, right now, based on the form of other teams, they're one of the most, probably, maybe apart from Abia Warriors, who are also doing so well. Bendel Insurance seems to be the one of the most important teams in the Premier League. So, teams should be wary of Bendel Insurance. Sometimes they struggle to get these wins, but they get the win as at when due. 3-2, 2-1. These are the kind of wins Coach Boboya has been getting with Bendel Insurance, which is quite good. I mean, regardless of how you win, just win. That's the slogan for the Nigeria Premier Football League. So I think teams like Nasarawa United and Abia Warriors should be watching their back, because a team like Bendel Insurance is actually coming. I would have mentioned Shooting Stars, who have actually won their last 2 games as well. Shooting Stars will be playing, of course. So I think the top 4, maybe the second, the third, and the fourth spot, because personally I think Rivers United and Abia Warriors will secure the first and second position. These 2 teams have shown us that they are ready for this season. But Ikorodu City and Nasarawa United, these 2 teams need to start watching their back, because teams like Bendel Insurance, Shooting Stars, and of course the Rangers are coming, and of course they are fighting for that top 3 and 4 position. I wouldn't mention, you mentioned Remo Stars, but I would excuse Remo Stars from this conversation, because where they are at this point in time, they should just be, hoping that they finish in a comfortable position and forget about anything continental at this point in time. But yeah, for the top 4 position is up for grabs. Abia Warriors and Nasarawa United, a game that everyone should also watch out for. This is a game between the second and the 4th place team in Nigeria Premier Football League. Difference between these 2 teams is just 2 points, right? And if Nasarawa United can get anything away at Abia Warriors, it closes the gap to about 1 point. But I don't see the possibility of that happening, because Abia Warriors themselves have been in a very good form. Their last 5 games, they've had only 1 draw and, of course, 4 wins, which is fantastic for any team. They went to Akano the other day, and, of course, a win, right? They played at home to Plateau United, and, of course, got a draw. So it is they are a team that actually wants to. Last season, we saw when they finished. They also competed until the last few games of the season. So they are back again in this race, hoping that they can actually get a win. When they get a win today, it closes the gap between themselves and Rivers United, even though Rivers United will have a game in hand. But of course, just 1 point between them. So it is a title race we are going into right now. And of course, the race for the 3rd and 4th spot is also up for grabs for the 4 teams I mentioned earlier.
All right, Pius, you've just analyzed the top 6. Let me come to you at the bottom 6. I mean, Kano Pillars at the moment, it looks like Kano Pillars might just be kissing the NPFL goodbye. They're still, where they are. We have Kun Khalifa, Wiki Tourist of Bauchi. And interesting fixture this weekend is Wiki Tourist against Kano Pillars, 18th against 19th. So whatever happens, a win for Wiki Tourist will be 26 points. That might just take them out of the bottom 6. Yeah. Kano Pillars also probably will just be around it, but still, hope to also be where they are. There's also Warri United, Plateau United. These are traditional teams. So you'll see, when you look at the history of Kano Pillars, of Plateau United, former league champion, Kano Pillars, former league champion, Remo Stars, former current champions of the NPFL. What is really wrong?
I think this season is looking very, very tough for teams, especially those ones that have competed on the continent. You saw what Remo Stars are going to. 12 losses. They are not even salvaging draws. No matter how bad your team can be, you should be salvaging draws. But when you look at their statistics, 12 losses, and there's this rumor about Daniel leaving. Yeah,
we've heard it a couple of times.
Yesterday, he penned an emotional tweet to the owner of the club, Shoname, and he started to give all forms of like.
We also heard he almost joined Bayelsa United, and something happened.
He has actually conquered Remo Stars. The only thing he hasn't done is the continental, winning or going into the group stage with them. But he's their best manager in their history of Remo Stars. But the bottom 6 for me in the NPFL is not concluded yet. We're going to be having 4 teams relegate, but out of the bottom 6, anybody can still get relegated. Even the Kun Khalifa that are 20th on the log can still get relegated. They can even still, they might not get relegated. 18 points in 21 games, they can still get something. So I think we should not write off any team. But if we begin to see teams like Plateau United, Warri United, Remo Stars get relegated, even Kano Pillars, if the 4 of them get relegated, then we know something is wrong somewhere.
All right, something is wrong somewhere, but I don't think something is wrong with Rivers United, because Rivers United, kept their CAF Champions League hopes alive after holding Power Dynamos to a goalless draw in Ndola on Saturday. Now, the stalemate ended the Nigerian side the first point of the Group A campaign as the competition reached its halfway stage. Now, both teams went into the match searching for a recovery after losing their opening 2 fixtures. Neither could find a breakthrough. Rivers United showed improved organization, defensive discipline away from home, limiting Power Dynamos to a few clear chances despite sustained pressure from the hosts. Now, the match was largely evenly contested with the urgency from both sides, but lacked cutting edge from the two sides, and this result leaves qualification hopes intact of Rivers United. For Rivers United, though victories will be needed in the remaining group matches to stay in contention. Pius, Rivers United group stage position, they end a goalless draw, their first point in the group stage of the CAF Champions League. How encouraging is this performance for their CAF Champions League campaign, and also what adjustment do they need to make to secure their first win in the competition?
Honestly, if they would get past the group stage they are in a very difficult group, like we rightly analyzed when the draws came out. A very difficult group. Yeah, they got a point against Power Dynamos, but well, I mean, as expected, because I recall when we had this conversation, we all agreed that both Power Dynamos and Rivers United would be gladly knocked out of this particular group stage, and I don't see any way out for them. They've had just 1 point from 3 games. I didn't expect them to even lose to Power Dynamos because they're playing against the Zambia side, who will I say coincidentally are also top of their standing in their own league, right? In fact, they've lost the same number of games as Rivers United. That's how balanced those two teams are at this point in time. So they will have to find their way against RS Berkane, of course, Pyramid. These are the two teams they have to navigate their way around, because these two teams, like we also saw, both teams also played out a draw. They've had 2 wins and, of course, 1 draw, which is how balanced that is. So it's going to be very difficult for Rivers United. If they can win their remaining games at home, maybe they can have a fighting chance at qualifying from the group stage, which I doubt would happen because the one thing about Rivers United is the fact that, yes, they're a team that cannot score a lot of goals, but they don't also concede a lot of goals. That's one good thing about Rivers United. So if they can have their 1 wins, 1-0, 2-0 against teams like Pyramids and, of course, RS Berkane in the reverse fixture, maybe, just maybe, they can have something. But apart from that, if they are going to get, they probably will even defeat Power Dynamos in the reverse fixture in Nigeria. But that might not be enough to take them out of that particular group stage, because if you have 4 points and then you lose the remaining games, or 3 points against Power Dynamos in the reverse fixture,
okay,
and of course see if you can get another 3 points or 4 points somewhere else, that probably be good enough. But that would be very, very difficult. Honestly, I don't want to raise the hope, my own hope high, or the hope of Nigeria's high, because for me it is almost done and dusted. They're out of that competition.
All right, Pius has given up on Rivers United. I don't know if Toyosi says we have 2 teams that will qualify from the group, and the 2 teams are like the giants of the group when you look at the pedigree. The bottom, the remaining 2 teams, Power Dynamos, Rivers United. Rivers United play the Power Dynamos at home. If they get a win, that's 4 points. Can they squeeze themselves to be the second team that will qualify?
They could have squeezed themselves, but when they lost that home game, I think it's against Pyramids, who they lost that game. I think they were the one even leading the game.
Then all of a sudden, a scandalous, I think a mistake from, I remember the back line and then
2 late goals. It was in Uyo, it was very, very sad. And then you're going away to Power Dynamos. I understand that you have the mentality of it's an away game. What you need to do, just keep the game open, you draw the game. Their goalkeeper was even the man of the match yesterday. They showed how much they needed, to be defensive yesterday. And I don't like how our teams travel away, and then it might be very hostile in terms of how they treat the clubs, but we need to make sure that our teams have the mentality that, despite the fact that we are away, we can always win these games. Although quality might show face in this kind of situation. If you're playing against Pyramids, we know how good they are in the league, how they perform in the Champions League, Confederations Cup, but always give it a fight. Don't lose concentration. As long as you don't lose concentration, I think that we are on the way to getting draws against the likes of Pyramids and RS Berkane, whichever club we play against. All
right, Rivers United will be keeping tabs with them, and of course, this is their first point in the CAF Champions League, and looking forward looking at the only Nigerian team in the competition. I mean, when you look at other leagues in Africa, I mean, we just concluded the Nations Cup. Ashore and the likes of Trezeguet. Trezeguet got on the score sheet for Al Ahly over the weekend on Friday for his club side. We have Mamelodi Sundowns, South African contingent, players who are in the national team have started also scoring for their sides. But in Nigeria, we're talking in 2026, we're struggling to we even managed to make the group stage, and we're struggling to even go past the group stage. That's where Nigerian football is when it comes to league football. We're hoping that one day we'll resolve the issue. Pius, parting shots before I let you go. I know we've talked about this over time. This is 2026. What was said in 2025 might be said today on the show. But Pius, do you ever think that to come to a time where Nigerian club sides will be competitive on the continent?
Well, competitive on the continent again, because we've always been, we used to be competitive, or we used to be competing on the continent before. But would there ever be a time in the nearest future? Maybe, just maybe. But I don't see it. We are talking about Rivers United in the group against Pyramid and of course RS Pekan. In terms of quality of players, in terms of quality of managers, in terms of the situation surrounding these players, in terms of how much they are being paid, in terms of the facilities they have to even train, we don't have it, and we are not even anything close to having it. I was listening to a conversation when you were having with us in the studio earlier about how or if we can even host the African Cup of Nations. The clear answer is we cannot. If we have to host the African Cup of Nations right now, we have to co-host with other countries. That's how bad we are as the so-called giant of Africa. We cannot single-handedly host the African Cup of Nations as we speak right now. We don't have anything close to what we saw in Morocco. We don't even have anything half of it at all. So the situation in the footballing ecosystem in Nigeria is so bad that we cannot present one team to face the other teams from other. Even teams from South Africa would easily defeat us hands down. We saw a team from South Africa come to Nigeria against Remo Stars, the giant of Africa, the giant of Nigeria football as we speak right now. And we saw how many goals they considered both home and away. We saw the quality of football that was played. It was quite shameful to watch. And the only good thing about Nigerian football is the fact that we have players or coaches who can come on radio or come on TV to tell you we have players. That's the only good thing. But in reality, we see that we don't have them, because the situation surrounding Nigerian football is so bad that at this point in time, right now, even the CAF Confederation Cup, we gave Africa 2 teams in the CAF. They both couldn't make it into the group stages. CAF Confederation Cup. It's a separate conversation, and that conversation is if the guys who are actually administering our football right now don't know what to do, then it's a shame, because I don't think we can even compete in the next future, because next season we're going to produce another winner in Rivers United, ship them out to compete in the CAF Champions League, and then they come back again the same way. And every year we keep going around the same circle, saying the same thing, and they'll just keep rotating around. I can hear you.
All right, Pius.
Well,
I mean, if we can have
me at this point,
we can have a 1 hour conversation on this. I know we will not end it, because when you look at what Nigeria is at the moment, our football, we keep producing players, but when it comes to a collective, we've not been able to hack that. But Pius, I must let you go at the moment. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We look forward to having you again, subsequent edition of the show.